Welcome to this GB Labs tutorial video. In this tutorial, we will show you how easy it is to go from the box to production in just minutes. We will cover basic network settings, volumes, and workspaces to get you up and running from right out of the box. The Space GUI can be accessed on any active network port through a web browser. The Space system has a default IP address on ETH0 of 192.168.0.100. Your space can also be accessed by attaching a VGA monitor, keyboard, and mouse directly to the back of the system. For this tutorial, we will be accessing the space through the web browser. When accessed, you will be presented with an initial login screen. The default administrator login is admin. The password, space. Changing the username and password is covered on page 47 of the user's manual. We also address this in a later tutorial. The main splash screen is divided into two sections. The top bar. This is where the main functions of the system are accessed and status information is shown. The system overview. This is where you will see licensing, system and support information, as well as the manual. The manual can only be accessed when using the web interface. The space core, which is the big globe on the left of the top bar, will show overall system status, the status of the space capacity, and the UPS status if one is attached. For this tutorial, we will be working with the networking, disks, and workspace pull-down menus of the top bar. Selecting Overview under the Networking pull-down menu will give us an overview of what each of our interfaces are set to. Each ETH interface can be set individually. The settings you see in this tutorial are the factory defaults. ETH1 is set to Dynamic by default to obtain its IP address from a DHCP server. This port will be used to get online to obtain important system updates in the future. Each interface is displayed in order: the IP address, subnet mask, connection status, and port speed. The little dash shows what the connection speed the port is at. It will also indicate a connection if it is green, no connection if it is grayed out, and a problem connection if red. If you spin the arrow next to each ETH port, the interface details for that port will be displayed. Most of these details will be covered in a later tutorial, or they can be viewed starting on page 12 of the user's manual. By clicking on Edit, you can now start to set up the network ports as you see fit for your configuration. You will see at the top Edit Details and Bandwidth Control. Bandwidth Control will be covered in a later tutorial. For now, we are just going to look at Edit Details. As you can see, we can set the dynamic to on or off, set the IP and subnet mask to those that better suit your configuration. As a note, once dynamic is set to on, all the other settings will be ignored. The other options in Edit Details consist of jumbo frames, loop protection, and issue DHCP will all be covered in a later tutorial. For now, we are going to leave all the network settings to the factory defaults for this tutorial. Selecting Overview under the Disks pull-down menu will give us an overview of how the system is set up right out of the box. To show the space setup in this tutorial, we are using an example of a 3 TB space unit. The Overview section will display the volume group and logical volume status. The operation of creating a volume group and a logical volume has already been done at the factory for you. We will discuss how to create, resize, and remove these in a later tutorial. For this tutorial, we will use factory defaults as they are ideal for most installations. We have also turned on disk optimization by default and set it to editing. If you look on page 19 of the user's manual, you will see the benefit of each of these settings and what will best suit your needs. This will now move us on to the Workspace menu to create the shares on the system. Space is a NAS solution and shares folders as network shares. These are referred to as workspaces. Space can create workspaces from logical volumes or folders within logical volumes. Space can also create workspaces from within workspaces. This means that we can create a very simple workflow like a SAN system, one workspace from one logical volume. We can also do complex tiering such as a share within a share within a share. Selecting Overview under the Workspace pull-down, you will see that no workspace has been created. For this tutorial, we will make just one workspace that utilizes the full capacity. If your situation calls for several workspaces, Just repeat these steps for each workspace you require. We will start by clicking on Create Workspace. First, we want to set the workspace name. This ideally should be the same name as the logical volume or folder being shared. For this tutorial, we will call it Space, since our logical volume is called Space. We will then click on Choose Folder. Here we will select the logical volume Space to create the workspace on. Under Description, you can put any detailed information as you see fit to describe or define the share. Next, we want to select our sharing protocol options. When creating a new workspace, all these options are set to off and need to be activated. The default setting for the new workspace is all the permissions are open like a SAN volume. These protocols are all explained on pages 27, 28, and 29 in the user's manual and will be explained in detail in a later tutorial. For this tutorial, we will select AFP and SMB protocols. AFP will work best for a share of all Mac users, and SMB will work best on a share of Windows users or a combination of Mac and Windows users. We will cover users, enable quota, and IP restrictions in a later tutorial. For now, we will leave those settings as factory default. Click on Save Workspace. The system will save all the settings and bring you back to a list of the workspaces. If you spin the arrow next to the name of the workspace, you will see all the details of the workspace and an option to edit that workspace in the future. Under Protocols, you will see all three protocols listed: AFP, NFS, and SMB. If a protocol is used, it will have a green dash next to it. This is a quick look to see what protocols were selected for that workspace. If you click on the protocol, you will see the mount point that is needed to mount that workspace. So to mount this on a Mac, I will highlight this string and copy it with Command-C. I will then use Command-K to connect to the server. Paste in my string with Command-V, then select Connect. You will be prompted to enter a name and password. Since we did not set up any users and passwords, this is not necessary. We will cover that in detail in a later tutorial. You select Guest and click on Connect. You will now see that the workspace has been mounted on your desktop and is ready to be put into production. Next, I'm going to want to show you how to mount the workspace on a Windows system. In this portion of the tutorial, I will be using Windows 8 to show you how to mount the workspace. This will work on all versions of Windows from Windows XP to Windows 8. For more information on how to mount with other versions of Windows, you can find that information on page 34 of the user's manual. I have opened the Space GUI using Firefox, much like I did on the Mac with Safari. I go to the Workspace pull-down and select Overview to see the list of workspaces on the system. Under Protocols, I can now click on SMB. This will show me the mount options for this share with the SMB protocol. Here I will highlight the string for Windows and copy with Ctrl-C, and then close the window. Next, I click on File Explorer in Windows 8. Once that dialog box opens, I then click once on Computer in the left-hand plane. Then click once on Computer in the top menu bar and then select Map Network Drive. In the dialog box that opens, select the desired drive letter. In this tutorial, I will select V for video. Place my cursor in the folder box and hit Ctrl-V to copy the string into the folder box. Make sure you check the box, reconnect at Sign In, then click on Finish. You will see that under Network, the Space workspace has been mounted to the letter V that we selected, and this drive is now ready for use. This will bring this tutorial from the box to production in minutes to an end. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this information to be useful, and keep an eye out for more video tutorials from GB Labs and our products.